Good afternoon, loggers. 6 weeks ago, we returned back to school into our experiment of hybrid instruction. With 70% of families wanting to leave their children at home, those who returned are still struggling with the low class sizes and limited peer interaction. Those of us who came back have dealt with mixed feelings on our experience of returning to school. As you can see, the drainness of in person learning, while helpful for one to one help, still leads to a lonely learning environment. So, we decided to ask the student body how the pandemic impacted their mental health during the 2020-2021 school year.
I think the pandemic has affected me in many ways. Firstly, as a student body vice president, just dealing with the mental stress of having to do all the planning and everything for events at the school via remote and not being able to see the real world effects of the ideas that you have in person.
The pandemic has affected my mental health negatively. I'm constantly having to rethink things. With the lack of socialization from my peers, I have had a spike in my social anxiety.
Even with teachers instructing remote and hybrid students simultaneously, the lack of peer interaction and not even being able to see the faces of classmates on Google Meet has impacted those feelings of anxiety, stress, and depression. After hearing of the mental health issues many students struggle with, we decided to ask school social worker Mr. Higgins how he has helped students cope with the pandemic.
The pandemic has been especially hard on students this year, with many students suffering from depression, anxiety, and in some cases the loss of a loved one due to the pandemic. Meeting with students remotely has been very difficult with little to no interaction while they're at home. It pains me to know that many of the students I have built relationships with over the past few years are at home suffering without my help.
Obviously, the pandemic has hit many of us hard, and hopefully, we will be able to return to some type of normalcy next year when we return to school. Reporting from Abraham High School, this is Peyton Liggins with WMIL.